Today's episode is the one we have all been waiting for. Grab your tea, grab your snacks, because we are unpacking a day filled with celebration, tension, secrets, and just enough drama to keep this family on its toes. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we break down Kwababa episode by episode so you never miss a moment of this roller coaster. Now let's get straight into it. The episode opens with the household still buzzing from the events of the past few days. Mambakazi is once again standing firm on her position, refusing to budge on the matter of Kathiko's paternity. She insists, with the same stubbornness we have come to expect from her, that Kathiko is indeed her child and that certain truths are better left buried. But we all know in this house, buried truths never stay buried for long. Zweleki, on the other hand, is carrying his own storm. He has made it clear, in no uncertain terms, that he is done waiting. He wants answers about his real father, and he is not interested in soft explanations or half-truths anymore. This is a young man who has spent his whole life being handed pieces of a puzzle that never quite fit, and today, his patience is wearing thin. What makes this episode particularly interesting is how the writers balance this heavier, more emotional storyline with the joy that is unfolding elsewhere in the homestead. Because while Zweleki is dealing with his identity crisis, the rest of the family is gearing up for something far more festive, the Lobola negotiations for Bahumi. And let me tell you, the energy shift between these two storylines is what makes Kwababa such compelling television. One moment you are sitting with the heaviness of a son who doesn't know where he truly comes from, and the next you are swept into ululations, singing, and the excitement of a family preparing to welcome new in-laws. Kwabe, as always, is at the center of his own chaos. This man cannot seem to let go of old business, old grudges, and old ambitions. He is still holding on to the belief that he is the rightful heir, the one who should be running the family enterprise, and he is not shy about reminding everyone of this at every opportunity. What struck me in this episode is how irresponsible his behavior has become. Instead of supporting his family during what should be a joyous occasion, he is scheming, plotting, and trying to figure out how he can insert himself into the Lobola negotiations as the chief negotiator. It's almost comedic how transparent his motives are, yet the family keeps giving him chances. There's a particularly touching moment where Kwabe actually attempts something different. He goes to Zweleki and, in a rare display of what almost looks like genuine care, tells him that his life needs to change. He reminds Zweleki that he lost his father far too young, before he ever had the chance to be guided, taught, and shown the way a father shows a son. For a brief second, you almost believe Kwabe has turned a corner, that maybe this is the moment he finally starts being the family man everyone hopes he can be. But knowing this character and knowing this show, we should all know better than to get our hopes up too quickly. Now let's talk about the real highlight of the episode, the Lobola celebrations for Bahumi. Oh, what a scene this was! The singing, the ululating, the sense of unity as both families gather to officially recognize this union. Amlaba steps up and is confirmed as the chief negotiator for the Lobola proceedings, and honestly, watching him take charge with such confidence gives us a glimpse of a man who is finally coming into his own. There's a beautiful line of dialogue where the negotiators speak about how life brings prosperity when families come together with good intentions, and it perfectly captures the spirit of the day. Everyone in that yard, in that moment, seems to forget the tension simmering beneath the surface, and just for a while, they allow themselves to celebrate. Of course, Kwabe cannot resist trying to find out exactly how much Lobola is being negotiated. Even in a moment meant for unity and joy, he is thinking about numbers, about what he can extract from the situation, about how this affects his own standing. It is honestly exhausting watching this character consistently choose self-interest over family, but it does make for gripping television because you are always wondering just how far he is willing to go. Meanwhile, there's an interesting subplot developing around Zweleki's relationship with his father figure, Kwabe. It's clear these two do not see eye to eye, and there's a growing sense that Zwelithini is starting to see through the cracks in Kwab's character. Amlaba, on the other hand, seems to be positioning himself as someone Zwelithini can actually trust, someone who wants to see the celebration through without ulterior motives, someone who genuinely wants to see the family's negotiations succeed rather than using them as a stepping stone for his own ambitions. There's a wonderful exchange between some of the women of the household discussing how, when you truly consider yourselves family, you shouldn't be running from responsibility or trying to distance yourself when things get difficult. This line hits differently when you consider the ongoing tension between Kwab and the rest of the household. He constantly wants the benefits of being the eldest, the privileges of being seen as the head of the family, but the moment real responsibility is required of him, he tends to disappear or manipulate his way out of accountability. As the episode continues, we shift back to the heavier storyline surrounding Zwelithini's search for the truth about his biological father. There's real heartbreak in these scenes. Watching a young man ask, again and again, who his real father is, and being met with silence, deflection, or outright refusal, is genuinely difficult to watch. Mambakazi's reaction throughout this whole ordeal has been one of the most talked about elements of this storyline. She carries herself with the kind of defensiveness you would expect from someone who has committed the gravest of mistakes, and that energy alone is enough to make viewers suspicious that there is far more to this story than she is letting on. Nakazola Makais also finds herself in a difficult position, caught between wanting to support Zwelithini in his search for answers and not wanting to upset the fragile peace within the household. There's a particularly tense scene where she and Mambakazi have a quiet but loaded conversation, one of those conversations where every word feels carefully chosen, where nobody wants to say too much, yet everybody understands exactly what is being implied. Makais seems to be building toward a moment where she may finally reveal something significant, and if the writers are setting this up the way it appears, we could be in for a massive reveal in the coming episodes. Back at the celebration, there's a lighter moment involving Msolisai, Bahumi's partner, who seems to be dealing with his own quiet conscience throughout the negotiations. There's a subtle suggestion that he is keeping something close to his chest, something he has promised to keep secret, and it is clear that this secret is weighing on him even amid the celebrations. The show does an excellent job of never letting a happy moment exist without at least a hint of the underlying tension that defines this family. Even as everyone sings and celebrates the successful Lobola negotiations, there is an undercurrent of unease, a sense that not everyone at this celebration is being fully honest with one another. By the middle of the episode, Amlaba has clearly settled into his new role, both within the family structure and within his own life. He has found new stability, a new job, thanks to the support of his wife, and a renewed sense of purpose that seems to be helping him move on from the chaos that once defined his life. This stands in sharp contrast to Kwab, who remains stuck in the past, still clinging to old grievances and still convinced that he alone deserves to inherit everything the family has built. It's a fascinating character study, watching these two men, who once seemed to be on similar paths, diverge so dramatically. One is choosing growth, accountability, and family, while the other continues to choose pride, entitlement, and self-interest. There's also a wonderful comedic beat where some of the family members joke about how Kwab seems to want the recognition of being the rightful heir without doing any of the work that comes with that responsibility. It's a light moment, but it also serves as sharp commentary on his character arc so far this season. The show doesn't shy away from letting other characters call out Kwab's behavior, even if he refuses to actually change because of it. As we move toward the final act of the episode, the celebration for Bahumi reaches its peak. The families exchange their final words of blessing, the negotiators shake hands, and there's a genuine sense of accomplishment and joy radiating through the homestead. Halala, congratulations are shared all around as Bahumi officially receives her Lobola, marking a major milestone for her and her family. It's a beautiful, heartfelt sequence, filled with music, laughter, and the kind of communal joy that Kwababa does so well when it wants to remind us why these characters matter to us in the first place. But just as we are settling into this warm, celebratory mood, the show reminds us that peace never lasts long in this household. Word begins to spread, quietly at first, that the truth about Zweliki's paternity might be closer to coming out than anyone anticipated. There are whispers among a few family members, hints dropped in passing conversation, and it becomes increasingly clear that Mambakozi's secret is not going to hold much longer. The episode ends on this note of quiet tension, leaving viewers with the sense that even though today was a day of celebration, tomorrow may bring the reckoning that this family has been avoiding for far too long. What I loved about this episode is how well it balances tone. It would have been easy for the writers to let the Lobola celebration dominate the entire episode, treating it as a simple feel-good filler before returning to the heavier drama. Instead, they wove both storylines together so that the celebration itself carries emotional weight, layered with the underlying tension of secrets waiting to unravel. It's a reminder that in this family, joy and heartbreak are never far apart. Kwab remains, as always, the character we love to criticize. His inability to simply be happy for his family, his constant scheming, and his refusal to take real accountability make him endlessly frustrating, yet undeniably entertaining to watch. I think many of us are waiting for the moment he finally faces real consequences for his actions, and this episode certainly plants more seeds for that eventual reckoning. Zweliki's storyline continues to be one of the most emotionally resonant threads this season. His desperation to know the truth about his father speaks to something universal, the need to understand where we come from in order to understand who we are. Watching him navigate this uncertainty, surrounded by family members who claim to love him but continue to withhold the truth, makes for genuinely compelling drama, and I suspect the payoff, when it finally comes, is going to be massive for this show. As for Bahumi, congratulations are absolutely in order. After everything this family has been through, seeing her receive her lobola successfully, with the full support and blessing of both families, is a genuinely heartwarming conclusion to this chapter of her story. It's proof that even amid chaos, this family still knows how to come together when it truly matters. So that's our full breakdown of today's episode, family. What did you think about Kwab's attempt to insert himself into the negotiations? Do you think Mambakozi's secret is finally about to come out? And most importantly, are you as excited as we are for Bahumi's next chapter? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below, let us know what you are hoping to see next, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Kwababa reviews. Halala, congratulations to Bahumi, and we will see you all in the next episode breakdown. Stay blessed, stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time.